Borderlands 4 is right around the corner, and I'm so excited about this game. But the thing I'm hoping for the most is just that the story isn't, well, this.
Aye, but how did you phase lock the entire moon? Wow.
So before the game comes out, I wanted to do something special. And you saw the title of this video, so you know what it is, but I want to ask you a question. Are you familiar with Lovecraftian horror? Well, if not, let me do a quick rundown. So, Lovecraftian horror is a genre of horror created by author and notable terrible person H.P. Lovecraft. He lived in a time of racism and was considered too racist even by those standards. But he created a very special form of horror. See, in this genre, there more often than not isn't a big monster to jump out and scare the protagonist. In fact, the reader often doesn't even get to see a monster. They're always indescribable or unknowable, and they rarely physically harm the main character. Instead, the protag is just driven insane by this constant, impossible presence itching at the back of their mind. There's no way to get away from the feeling, and it often leads to the character's demise. So naturally, I thought it'd be a good idea to create my own Lovecraftian entity for a little time. So from August 15th to the 22nd, I had the Borderlands movie playing around me nonstop. Every waking second, I could hear it or see it. And I promise I'm not exaggerating this for good content when I tell you this wasn't as silly as it seemed like it would be, and at least for a time, this did real damage to me. Let's start with some ground rules I laid for myself. I had to, in one way or another, always have the movie in my presence. If I was unable to watch the movie because I was driving or something, like actually physically see it, then I had to listen to it. And likewise, if I was in a position where I was filming for another video, I couldn't listen to the movie, it had to constantly be in my peripheral vision. Additionally, I'm watching this movie on Amazon Prime, so if I'm asleep and the movie ends and autoplays something else, that's really not within my control. Also, I'm required to do one true watch per day. That means no watching it in the background. I have to devote 100% of my attention to the movie. And lastly, there's this mid-credit scene where the character Claptrap comes onto screen and he does this little annoying song and dance. Every time that happens, in every background passive watch that I'm doing, I have to drop whatever I'm doing and devote 100% of my attention to it. That means turn the volume up so I can fully hear it and only look at that, be focused on nothing else. If I miss it and I don't do that, there's a punishment. But we'll get to that later. So day one started, and it only took me a couple of viewings to realize what I was actually in for. I wasn't gonna have a moment of silence for an entire week. I mean, yeah, there are times that it might not be playing audio, but that's because I'm working on a video and I'm still hearing audio, or I'm filming and so I'm hearing myself talking. But it really dawned on me that I was gonna hear something non-stop for a week. But day one comes and goes and nothing really big happens. Day two is where it starts to ramp up though. So before we get into that though, let's talk a little bit about the movie. It starts out with narration from Cate Blanchett's character Lilith, and she tells us about this ancient alien race called Iridians and how they were super advanced and they have this vault that houses the last of their shit and something called the Daughter of Iridia. She then cracks wise about oh, I thought it was a bunch of BS too, or whatever. And then we cut to a space station. It's on lockdown and we meet Kevin Hart's character Roland, who has this really funny joke where he can't get his helmet off and he's like, oh, this helmet has no air holes. It's really good. It's peak comedy. So anyways, he talks to Ariana Greenblatt's character, Tina, and he tells her that he was sent by her father, a man named Atlas, to come protect her, and there's been a problem on the station. They have some totally awesome banter about how he's short and she's not funny, and then they dip. Okay, so real quick, later on in the movie, we're gonna learn that Tina isn't actually Atlas's daughter. She's a clone he created from Iridian blood to be able to open the vault, and she hates him. But then why, when we meet her, does she seem so eager to go with Roland, who he says works for Atlas? I don't know. Anyways, Roland kills a bunch of soldiers, and we realize that this is a prison, as one of the prisoners breaks out. A psycho named Krieg, and he seems to just kind of bust through his cell with ease. Whatever, none of this matters. The only thing left that matters is Krieg knocks out a chick named Nox, who Roland seems to know. Krieg and Roland team up and decide to get Tina out there. Next up, we meet our narrator, Lilith. She's a bounty hunter who stops off at a bar before she turns in her current bounty. She complains about her job to the bartender and literally says, I'm getting too old for this shit. So some dudes approach her and they're a bit rude to her, so she hits one of them. And then they're like, yo, we got off on the wrong foot. We have a job for you. And she's like, oh, okay, and proceeds to murder two of the people offering her a job. Like, they were a little bit too pushy, and they did pull out a gun because they were like, hey, your current bounty, taken in dead or alive, so we'll just save you the trouble so you can start on this next job, and we'll kill him right here. And she just says nope and murders the two of them. And like, the crazy thing about this scene is, given the context that we've learned so far, she can't just go around murdering people. Like, this isn't a lawless wasteland. The bounty she was currently working on was one for the government, where she explained the guy that she captured had killed two of the guards. So we know that there's guards, there's like a police force, and she's turning him into the government for murder. And now she's just killed two people in the middle of a bar. And like, the people at the bar are clearly not used to this, because it's not like one of those scenes where like she shoots him and it's like cool cowboy shit and like people look at her and then go back to their drinking and the guy plays like the little ragtime piano or nothing. Like, no. People are running and screaming in terror. Like, they're horrified at this, like, shooting that's happening in the middle of this bar. And I'm talking too much about it. So then a guy slow claps because she killed two of the guys that work for him. And he stands up, introduces himself, says that they worked for him, and she murders him. He didn't threaten her. He didn't push her. He just mentions that the guys worked for him. So she killed him. God, I feel like I'm wasting so much time explaining this. Okay, so anyways, the guy she shot was wearing a mask that projects an image of another person's face. So it turns out that the guy she shot was actually just another innocent employee. Whatever. So the boss, whose face is like projecting on the image of the face of this dead guy, he's like, you over there, and calls some guy over. He puts on like the mask thing, and then he's like, hey, I'm Atlas. My daughter's been kidnapped, and I'd like you to go to Pandora and get her back. And Lilith literally says thoughts and prayers when he mentions Pandora, and that she won't go back. But then he pays her a lot, so she does. Anyways, I think I've made you suffer enough hearing about this movie for now. So let's get back to my suffering. So on day 2, I ran some errands. I'd hit up the grocery store, went to a garage sale, and, the whole time I was wearing headphones and listening to the movie. I started getting this headache that eventually, over the course of this project, it would just start to grow more and more, but we'll get back to that. So, go home, work on my videos, and later on, I find out the neighbors are having a get-together, and this really wasn't a thing I could say no to. I couldn't just tell them, like, no, I can't go, because I have to watch the Borderlands movie on a loop for a YouTube video, because then I'd sound like a fucking freak. And also, like, maybe it'd be better if I was an established YouTuber, but at the point of doing this, I don't even have a channel made yet. So absolutely, that's not gonna work out. So I opted to wear earbuds, and I told people I was contracted as an editor for an audio project. I told them I had tons of audio files I was supposed to review, and, I didn't have the time to take off, but still wanted to hang out, so I'd just have to work while I was there and, listen to all those audio files. Yeah, that lie worked really, really well. Like, problematically well. People were super interested in this. They wanted to know more, and I quickly felt like my lie wasn't good enough, so I had to make it more legit. So I started up a notepad on my phone, and every now and then I'd pull out my phone and act like I heard an audio error and pause the conversation and write down like a random time code and some fake audio error log notes. But people just kept wanting to ask me about it all night. And I fucking hated this for so many reasons. First off, I was hanging out with people that I genuinely like a lot, and I was just straight up lying to their face for an entire night. Not only that, but I had to try and chat with folks and be charming while keeping up a lie, all while I could hear Jack Black as Claptrap screaming and singing in my ear. So, if any of you are watching this, I genuinely feel really fucking bad and weird about lying to you that whole time. But being there presented more problems than just, the headache of trying to be at a party while listening to the Borderlands movie and also lying to people that I like. Remember earlier I mentioned there was that mid-credits scene with Claptrap, and I'd have to watch it every single time or I'd be punished. Well, I couldn't exactly pull out my phone and watch it while I was surrounded by people, especially after I'd been lying to them all night about how I was just reviewing audio files, because I just whip out the Borderlands movie on my phone and then I'm fucking blown. So obviously I failed with that. Twice. I missed 2 of them. So the next day I'd need to be punished. I got home and that headache that I had started to evolve. I could feel myself starting to actually get pretty sick. I was really nauseous, and I tried to work a couple more hours, but eventually I called it and went to bed. And that night, I had a dream. I was in the Minecraft world, and I was just mining away, but weirdly enough, Jack Black as Steve stood in front of me, and every time his mouth moved, I could hear the audio from the Borderlands movie. And oddly enough, whenever Amazon Prime autoplayed to whatever was next, I only heard a little bit of that audio before it started to fade away. I woke up and realized my brain was starting to reject non-Borderlands movie audio. I was feeling like shit the next morning. I was depressed, I was sick, and my head was pounding. And what's worse? It was Punishment Day. I had to pay my penance for missing those claptrap mid-credit scenes. But before I show you my punishment, let me punish your ears a little bit with some more story from the Borderlands movie. Alright, so Lilith goes to Pandora, and we get a bunch of narration where its tone changes wildly. One sec it feels like it wants to be film noir written by an illiterate 11-year-old trying to use ChatGPT, and then the next it feels like it wants to be really funny, also with that whole illiterate 11-year-old thing. We finally then get one decent moment. We meet Marcus. And if you know the game, you know who Marcus is. If you don't, he's the guy who sells us all our ammo in the games. He's also the narrator for all the mainline games, and I love me some Marcus. And the actor who portrays him here in this movie, Benjamin Byron Davis, does a fucking incredible job. Like, I actually had to look him up to make sure he wasn't the voice actor from the games, because his voice, his cadence, his demeanor, hell, even his look is so fucking spot on. And he's only in 3 scenes, but he always steals the show every time he is, and not just because of the externals, like the look and voice and everything, it's the way he portrays him. It feels like such a good extension of the character. Anyways, that's enough crank it off Benjamin Byron Davis. So Lilith camps out one night and meets up with a robot named Claptrap, who, as we know, is voiced by Jack Black. It's weird though, because whenever we first hear the character's voice, he's off in the shadows, but it's the voice from the game, it's the voice actor from the game. But then when he pops out, it changes over to Jack Black's voice, and he literally says, "Just kidding." Like, they're trolling the viewer. I don't know why they would do this when people were already unhappy about the cast of this movie, but it's fine. Jack Black does actually do like a really good job here. He's clearly trying to pay respect to the character and emulate him to the best of his ability while working around a diarrhea script. So they decide to team up, and Claptrap scans the Echonet to find Tina for Lilith, and they head off to go meet her. Now, I'm gonna speed up here. Whenever Tina and Lilith first meet up, they're enemies. But then the Atlas forces called the Crimson Lance show up, and they team up to, run away from them together. I'm really not leaving that much out. There's nothing in here that would explain why Lilith turned on her employer. She really just does so without any reason. So they get away from the Crimson Lance, and then they decide that they're enemies again. Because Roland's like, no, she's just a scumbag bounty hunter, wah. And then they decide immediately after that they're not enemies. Lilith learns during this exchange that Roland, Tina, and Krieg are looking for the vault, because they think that Tina's the daughter of Iridia, so she can open it. So then they just, head off to Sanctuary City, go meet up with Roland's contact who knows more about the vault. Alright, you bad little viewer. Daddy's punished you enough for now. So now it's time to see Daddy punish himself unreasonably. There's not really an easy way to explain what I did to myself for punishment here. So instead, let me just show you. Yeah, so the movie's almost over. We're in the credits, so we're about to get to the mid-credits scene where we see Claptrap. And so I'm going to have to give that 100% of my attention, so I'm kind of speedrunning here. But here's what the play is. So I've got a laptop with a timer on it, or a stopwatch. I've got an iPad with a stopwatch, and I've got an analog or a digital clock that, the audio might suck here. I just realized I'm holding the mic wrong. I've got a digital clock that I'm going to unplug and plug back in. So I'm going to do this for an hour and a half. Just to show you, I have to set the mic down. Oh shit, it's not set to loop. Okay. So we saw that it loops. Getting close to the end of the credits here. Yeah, we're almost there. So I have to set my phone back up and mount it. But yeah, I'm going to be sitting here for an hour and a half. So we'll do a bit of a time lapse. I'm going to have to make sure that I give the claptrap ending sequence here 100% of my attention, just so I don't have to receive more punishment for this. Oh shit, okay. Please like and subscribe. What I'm doing here to myself is awful. Maybe I'll cut this out. I don't want to say... I feel like I'm torturing myself with this. Like very light torture, but it really sucks. I have headaches all the time. Anyways, I need to stop putting this off. Yeah, let's go.
Check these moves. I come to dance, mofo. Do the claptrap. Wait, no, what's going on here? Oh, it's my Easter egg. You son of a...
Oh no.
Not what I'm giving the big one. Check these moves.
Oh fuck. Okay. It's fine. It was just like a temporary burst of psychosis. Okay. Oh fuck. I'm still watching. My phone's turned off. I don't know why. Is it dead? We're still recording. Okay. God, I hope this computer's not full. I need to wrap this up. I'll do a debrief. I just feel fundamentally different after this. I'm sorry if I sound stupid right now. My brain is obviously very fried. I still have the fucking movie going on here. So the thing that's crazy about this is it's not like I'm done here. I'm gonna obviously need to chop the spaces up because I'm struggling. Just because I finished doing that punishment thing here doesn't mean that like the torturous process of this isn't over. I mean, the second I'm done recording, I'm gonna turn the volume back up on the Borderlands movie and I'm gonna be hearing it again. I don't know how to tell you that that was a time lapse of an hour and 45 minutes and I actually walked away changed. I know that sounds really fucking crazy and I'm really not. I don't want you to think that this portion I'm just doing it for like, oh, look at the silly YouTube guy and like sensationalism and shit. Like I can't express to you how much that fucked me up. When I left the room, I thought I was enlightened, actually. I actually believed I'd found some form of enlightenment. Not good, not bad, just calm and empty. But as the night wore on, I pretty quickly realized it wasn't enlightenment. You're not gonna fucking find enlightenment from watching Claptrap sing and dance for an hour and 45 minutes on a 22-second loop. No, this was just numb. I've been writing a journal each day, kind of chronicling like this weird fucking Borderlands journey that I've been going on. And I kind of want to share a portion of it with you, of what I wrote that night. And it's going to be really pretentious. So, buckle up for that. That was an almost indescribable experience. I walked away from it feeling nothing. Truly just nothing. Initially, I thought I felt enlightened, changed. Not for better or worse, just changed. But as the evening passed on, it became clear. I wasn't enlightened. I was numb. Doing that had pushed me beyond a panic attack to a point of numb that, as it wore off, I began to realize I haven't stopped panicking in 2 days. I tried to act normal and chat with friends on Discord while the movie played in the background, but it became clear as the night went on, I wasn't okay. By the end of the night, I was miserable. I was tired in a way that I can't describe. I felt nauseated, and I had and still have this headache that feels like it's literally eating my brain. I felt like I had no choice but to wax poetic to my girl. I had to tell her, I think I've actually done something kind of bad here. It's not about the movie anymore. It has nothing to do with the shitty script or the plot or the actors trying their best to salvage a brain-dead man's attempt at words. No, it's the idea of it that makes me fucking sick. It persists. You know, there's that saying that the only thing that's absolute are death and taxes. Well, add watching the Borderlands movie nonstop for a week to that for me, because it's indescribable. Want to go for a drive? No music, just the Borderlands movie. Want to work out? Do it while watching the Borderlands movie. Want to call a family member to discuss something serious? You better be watching the Borderlands movie while you do it. Need to work on the script for the Borderlands movie video? Watch the Borderlands movie. Filming a video? Movie. Filming a punishment where I have to watch Claptrap for an hour and 45 minutes? Movie. Want a break from watching the Borderlands movie? Watch the fucking Borderlands movie. It's always there. No matter where I am. Even now, I hear it. Claptrap saying, scanning, scanning, scanning. I've become the character in the Telltale Heart, but my heart beats for Claptrap. I've created my own personal Lovecraftian entity. One that I can't escape, that haunts me. Anyways, I hope you liked seeing me do real damage to my psyche. Now come on, sport, let's go talk about that movie. Alright, so the gang heads off to Sanctuary, and we get to see Marcus again, which is always a treat. And then we go meet Moxie, the owner of the local bar/brothel. She tells the gang where to meet Roland's contact, and they head up to meet her. She's a xenoarchaeologist named Tanis. I'm skipping over shit here, but nobody cares. I sure didn't. So she's played by Jamie Lee Curtis, and I actually think she did a really good job here. In fact, I like most everyone's performance aside from Cate Blanchett. Like, obviously the movie fucking sucks, and the script is a mess, but all the actors did a great job aside from Cate Blanchett, who seems to have a new accent every few scenes for a few lines of dialogue and then swaps back to normal. Like, it's really weird and seemingly for no reason whatsoever. It's not for like a gag, it's just like out of nowhere, she has a weird accent and then drops it. I have no clue why legendary actress Cate Blanchett is doing this, but there it is. Anyways, we learn that when Lilith was young, she was given away by her mother to Tanis to keep her safe. But then Tanis decided to give her up to some murderers and thieves so that Lilith would learn to survive. So, them meeting up again, Lilith dislikes Tanis. This lasts till the end of this conversation, and then they never really talk about it again. It's also really weird, because like, I don't know, if Lilith was being portrayed by like a younger woman, and she had like mommy issues, that would totally make sense, and I could see her throwing a temper tantrum, but Cate Blanchett's like, what, fucking 60? Like, that's just really weird to see a 60-year-old woman pull up and start throwing a temper tantrum and pouting and being like, you were supposed to take care of me. Claptrap is spotted while roaming around and looking for spare parts, so they all have to escape through a trash truck. So they head off to where the next key fragment is in Caustic Cavern, and I'm gonna skip over like 20 minutes here. There's a bunch of horrible cringe writing and a seemingly endless unchoreographed action sequence, and then they get the part of the vault key. Roland sacrifices himself to let the gang escape, and as they're riding the elevator to the surface, it's going too fast, and they're like, oh no, we're not gonna make it. And then suddenly they're teleported out, and Tina's like, whoa, I can teleport, I'm magical. And that's where we're gonna call it on the movie for now. Alright, so back to the only reason you're actually here. On day 4, I woke up feeling a little bit better. Early on in that day, I speculated that maybe I'd just been drained the night before from the punishment, which is true. But I felt like I was gonna be okay with this moving forward. So I decided to make my plans for the day. I was gonna do a little working out, I was gonna run some errands, really just take care of my physical and mental health on that day. I walked out to my car with the movie playing in my hand, and I was thinking about what music I was gonna listen to on my drive to really re-energize me and get excited for what I had planned. And then I heard Krieg say the line, "Chutney Vomit Queen," and it all kind of fell back into place. I couldn't listen to music in the car. Or while I was working out. I had just written about this in my journal from the night before, and I'd already forgotten. The only thing I was allowed to listen to was the Borderlands movie. Immediately, the excitement for the day was gone. And there it was again, that constant presence just controlling and dictating my mood at any given moment. But because I'm trying to do this for you, I decided that wasn't good enough. I needed to up my misery for the day. So one thing about me, I don't really drink. I just don't really like it all that much. I also earlier in the year had like this thing with my liver, which has been fixed now and I'm totally fine. But I haven't even drank since long before that started because I'm a really boring drunk and so it's just not super fun for me. But I want to ask you a question. You ever gotten hammered off drinks so sweet at a Chili's that they make you sick long before the alcohol even takes effect while you watch the Borderlands movie? No? Oh, that's weird. That's fucking weird that you haven't. Oh, me? Oh, I'm just chill like that, dude. Like, yeah, of course I have. It's weird that you haven't, but like, that's cool. It's whatever. Hooey, Monday.
I don't drink. I'm doing this for you.
This Monday, August the 18th, John Lou at the local Chili where he gonna go toe-to-toe with the shark attack.
This is gonna be miserable.
Watching one man take on a drink of Blue Doom while on an empty stomach and watching the Borderlands movie.
I'm not gonna do in this Chili's.
So, shocker to no one, being drunk actually made the movie a lot more tolerable. But I didn't drink a huge amount, so I sobered up pretty fast. But it really was the drink itself that kept me up all night. It was so disgustingly sweet that it felt like it was disintegrating my stomach. And let me tell you, when you're hunched over the toilet and you hear Claptrap singing, driving, I'm so good at driving, that's a special type of torture. So I only ended up getting about 3 hours of sleep that night. And on day 5, I woke up tired as hell, but I think all the torture I'd put myself through up to that point finally broke me down, and I was starting to build back up now. I just quit caring. The headache was still there, yeah, but it probably was just mostly from a lack of sleep. Honestly, day 5 came and went, and nothing special happened. On day 6, it was more of the same. I think maybe I'd become a bit more irritable, but I just stopped caring. I could recite the words to the movie, and even if I wasn't doing like my dedicated watch through of that day, I could just sit down and watch it and not give a shit. Hell, earlier in the day, I found myself watching the movie for like half an hour just because I was bored and I didn't know what else to do. The CGI started looking less shitty to me, and you know, I wasn't at a point where I was like, oh my God, I love this movie so much, but it just didn't hurt me to watch anymore. I just stopped caring. But before we get to what happens to me on the last day, let's hear that exciting conclusion of the Borderlands movie. So the gang finds some shelter and gets some rest for the night. Janice combines the parts of the key that they already have and it reveals a map to the vault. She tells Lilith that Tina is the final piece of the key. That teleport confirmed it. That was an Iridian ability. But that means when they open the vault, it's going to consume the pieces of the key. It means Tina may die. So later in the night, Lilith is doing a little bit of brooding in the corner when Claptrap rolls over and hands her a tracker. It's the tracker that Atlas gave her earlier in the movie and that broke after she met Tina. I didn't talk about it then because like, it doesn't fucking matter. So anyways, Lilith decides to break the tracker again, officially joining Team Tina. And immediately after she breaks it, one of Atlas's drones pulls up to her so he can have a chat with Lilith. No, I'm not leaving anything out there. There's no explanation for how the drone got there seconds after the tracker was fixed. We just accept it. Anyways, so Tina overhears the final part of the conversation between Lilith and Atlas that makes it sound like Lilith is going to betray her. So Tina throws a grenade at Lilith, knocking her out. So Tina and her gang dip out off screen. When Lilith wakes up, she and Claptrap walk into a desolate town and they realize this is Lilith's hometown. Claptrap does a Star Wars after seeing some shit in her house and projects an image of her mom. She talks about how she's special. So we cut back to Tina and the gang who are at the vault trying to open it, but it's not opening for Tina. So Atlas appears out of nowhere with a big army and hits us with the second slow clap of the movie. He tells Commander Knox to keep Tina's organs on ice and maybe they'll have better luck with the next clone. Roland rappels down the canyon shooting at Atlas, but the bullets bounce off of him and he goes, no, like I totally have this Atlas Ultra Shield and your bullets can't even hurt me. So then he tells his troops to kill them all. So after nobody shoots their guns like they were ordered to for several seconds, the leader of the army, Commander Knox, says hold your fire and runs to Roland's side. This is the 4th time we've seen her, and we've never actually seen her and Roland interact really. Everyone just keeps saying they probably have history together, so we have to buy it. She tells Roland, you were right, I should have, and then a big fucking laser in the sky disintegrates her. For real, that's it. The first interaction we get of them, and it's just, Roland, you were right, I should have, and then a big laser shoots her. Anyways, so Lil pulls up and reveals she's the daughter of Iridia, now seeming to have full control over her teleporting powers. She offers to open the vault to save her friends. But then she goes Super Saiyan and a big fight happens. They're winning at first, then they're losing, then they're winning again. Then Atlas takes Tina hostage and he tells Lilith to let him into the vault. So she does. And then they monologue at each other inside of the vault for a while. Neither of their monologues have anything to do with the story so far. Lilith manages to steal Atlas's Ultra Shield, and then he gets taken away by a big tentacle monster. The next scene is a party in Sanctuary City. Lilith does some narration and calls Pandora her home, and that's the end of the Borderlands movie. Oh, of course, we can't forget the claptrap mid-credits scene. So here we are close to the end, and I gotta tell you, days 5, 6, 7, 8 were honestly kind of boring. And I know people wanted me to, at the end, be like, oh, I love this movie now, I got Stockholm Syndrome, but I'm not gonna lie to you for content. That's boring. I don't love the movie. I'm just kind of bored of it. Like, I don't mind watching it. In fact, I'm recording this several days after I've finished the, actual watching of the movie. A few of the nights I've actually gone to sleep with the movie playing in the background. It's kind of become a comforting thing for me. But I'm not, in love with the movie. I think it's just my brain has gotten so used to hearing it while I sleep that it helps me fall asleep a little bit now. But all I really wanted to do was get back to listening to music and just hanging out, watching other movies and stuff. And throughout the course of it, weirdly enough, I've really been wanting to listen to that song Rasputin. And that's weird, right? This movie isn't about love or a queen cheating with a priest or anything that has to do with the story of Rasputin. Right? Okay. I know this is a wild stretch. But hear me out. When Lilith refers to Pandora, she talks about it as a she. Every time she refers to Pandora as a she. And for some reason, Atlas thinks he has claim to her. He thinks he has claim to Pandora and her vault. But Pandora's wild and free. Sure, Atlas has some money and some power over the planet, and, we can tell that just by the way his troops move and operate, but at the end of the day, Pandora makes her own choices. She chooses to give Lilith the power. She chooses to open her vault for another, not Atlas. Realistically, if we remove every other character from the story, this is about Pandora, Atlas, and Lilith. The other characters really aren't that important to the story in reality. What if the real message isn't about being the hero and saving the day and bringing peace to a planet? What if the real message of this movie is one person stealing a powerful man's girl, in this case Pandora? And you might think I'm a little crazy or I'm trying too hard for what I'm about to say next, but you go through what I went through those 8 days, and you see if you come out perfectly sane. I know what Borderlands was trying to teach me. I was sent to this world to be Lilith, or Rasputin, when I'm Lilith's age, so 62 or something. It's my role in life to be the first man to enter a first lady. I was sent here to cuck a president of any nation in 40 years from now. Jackson, YouTube famous peen machine. He'll turn a president into a cock. Jackson, YouTube's favorite peen machine. He'll turn a president into a cock. Jackson, YouTube's favorite peen machine. He'll turn a president into a cock. Jackson, YouTube's favorite peen machine. He'll turn a president into a cock. Jackson, YouTube's favorite peen machine. He'll turn a president into a cock.